Down in there. We're live. That way.
So once I was told to start a garden, I didn't know where I would have the garden. So this lot that is behind us was had been empty since the late 80s. And so I researched it and found out that it was owned by the state. So I did purchase it for $450.
Land for $450. It's a whole lot, people. So the thing is, sometimes, sometimes we need to invest more into land. And you see how this land turned to a prosperous garden. So invest. So
yes, I definitely agree with
right.
that. There's a lot of places around that have just vacant lots. A lot of people
Yes.
So at the front of the garden, I wanted to put flowers for beautification to make the garden more welcoming.
So definitely, let's show them the garden and some of the things that you have here too as well.
Okay. All right. So we are entering into the Sharing is Caring neighborhood block garden. I would like to say that this garden is the vegetables that are grown, fruits and vegetables that are grown in this garden are free to the neighbors, my neighbors that live from Ann Banks all the way to Woodrow Wilson, completely free. Everybody in this block can eat from this garden.
Oh, wait, I'll wait till later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Who gonna get it? Somebody gonna get it. I'm still gonna pick it.
But I'll wait because I ain't gonna be making it tomorrow night.
So do understand, this was actually an empty lot. And that the thing is, everything was different. If you see some of the gates right here, those are some of the old remnants of the old gate. But these are new things that have already transpired since about how many years ago? About 2 years? Or a year?
Not quite.
Almost 2 years.
Actually, the first video I shot of this area before I did any work to it was August of 2020.
Okay. August of 2020. When I launched my first podcast.
Is it?
It was August 2020.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, one of the things that I've learned since starting this project is if God puts a vision in your heart, He will provide what you need when it comes to fruition.
Yes.
And He has.
Yes.
I've done some GoFundMe. I've just reached out to personal friends and family and loved ones. The gate, the fence just was recently put up in October, the end of October, as well as the shed, which are some of the things that I wanted for the garden. So come on in, let's see what we have.
And the one thing I want you guys to know, the rise did contribute to this because you understand it was God's given purpose. So the thing is, when God anoints you to do something and that you have the genuineness and the ability to do it, because the thing is, we could have easily thought about this as a profit, but there's no profit in this. The profit is God's love and God giving us the undivided blessings that we need to receive the abundance and what we have right here, which is now the Sharing and Caring Neighborhood Garden, who feeds this community and people here in this community. So I think this is it's a lesson for all of us that if we learn just to live off the land, look how many people it can feed. It's a community that it's feeding. So let's go ahead and go. I thought you made
All right, now this is our first fall winter garden. We did have a spring garden, which of course, everything from spring that's gone except for the peppers. We do still have peppers that are grown there. Now, this land, when I first purchased it, I did have to get the ground worked up, get it cleared off. It's about 6 truckloads of dirt that was added here. All of the money that was raised went directly into the things that we needed for this garden. I have had people to donate supplies, seeds. I've had people to help with things in here. It's just been a blessing. It's just been a blessing.
And the one thing I want us to also is about the acts of kindness.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, when you act, you know, and people forget the actual action that comes with acts. Acts doesn't mean that you're asking, but more so as acts of kindness. And acts, A-C-T-S, just like the Bible, is the acts of different things. So the thing is, like when she came, or when she come to people, she come to them with a genuine, pure heart.
Absolutely.
There is nothing monetary about this. And guess who's doing the labor? Norma herself, along with other friends and people that come and want to help in the garden too as well. But this is something that God and Jesus showed us how we need to be able to create, divide, and actually feed the people around us. And that's an important lesson that I've learned from this Sharing and Caring Neighborhood Garden, that we all always out to reach and grab things, but we grow within our own community. You can grow the garden just like she has in your own community. Only thing it does is take a vision. And to implement that vision. It was no gate here. You see this beautiful gate because, you know, people do come around and want things for free sometimes without asking. So, you know, something needs to have been placed in that position to make sure that people just don't rarely do that. And, you know, you got dogs and different things that want to come to it well and partake of the garden. So we have to understand, in your whole temple and your body too, you must understand you got to protect that. Put your gate around your body.
Yes.
Let's go and see the different things we have too. Let me go and pull this up.
Okay. So over here, we do have cabbage that was planted. Initially, when I planted this cabbage, I had it planted in a different direction and nothing was coming up. So because nothing was coming up and I had more seeds, I said, well, let me just rework this soil and replant some seeds. And as you can see, that's what I needed to do. Now, all the seeds have not come up, but there's enough coming up to share with the neighbors. That's all I needed to be, is enough to share. I'm grateful for that.
And that's why sharing is caring.
Absolutely.
Enough to share. Exactly. And what do we have over here?
We have some broccoli that has really, really taken off.
Yes.
You can see the florets in the center.
Yes.
See how big the bushes are? The smaller broccoli that's back here is small because when I planted the seeds, I planted 2 or 3 seeds per hole. Mm-hmm. And so with YouTube being my best friend, I found out that you have to thin stuff out so that they won't be in competition for the nutrients. So the little seedlings that I pulled out from those, I just planted them down here. And now they're growing.
Wow.
And we do still have peppers that are growing that have been here since spring. They're big, but they're not hot, but they taste like peppers. So if you just like the flavor of just a mild pepper, then they're perfect for that. Over here we have a bed of turnips and mustards. I've probably harvested out of this area probably 4 times, and as you harvest, you still get new things to grow back as long as you pick from the leaves from the outside. Now there has been some noise in some of the things in here, but there's still enough good ones in there to make a pot of gravy. All right, we have peppers along in here too. We have some shallot onions that are coming up right here. I'm real pleased with that. Never planted anything, but the shallots are it's just a little bulb you plant down in there, and then when these start to grow, matter of fact, that's 3 right there. So that's 1 shallot is going to produce 3 different bulbs right here. And so in the spring, you'll pull them up and you'll have more than what you planted, which is absolutely wonderful. I just get so excited from planting things and seeing them come up through the ground.
This looks like a hot pepper.
We got our jalapeno peppers down here that were also planted in the spring, and they're still producing as well.
Anybody want something hot? Here you go.
Hopefully they'll be hot. Over here, I planted some. Can you go to my phone? From here? So over here, I planted some Brussels sprouts. As you can see, they didn't come up. So what I did was I made another bed and I planted some additional seeds, and those are coming up. So this is all Brussels sprouts.
And we can continue on.
Okay. And of course, we do have some collards that are growing up over here. They're not growing as plentiful as the turnips and mustard, but nonetheless, we have collards growing. And then we have our garlic onion, which is a variety of a big garlic. It's an elephant garlic, as they call it. So it's coming up really well. Got our cauliflower that's coming up. You can see the cauliflower that's in here. So we have 2 cauliflower plants. They're coming up good. And then this bell pepper plant has been here since spring too, and I can't seem to pull it up because it's trying to give me some bell peppers. So let's see what it's going to do. We have a romaine lettuce right here that's standing up pretty tall. Then over here we have more turnips and mustard. I'll be out here picking greens out of here very shortly.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get me on film doing that as well.
Okay.
We have a big turnip that's coming up over here. I wish it had a bottom, but I don't know if it's gonna have one or not, but we eat the greens anyway. We
Hey,
got spinach.
see the blood on the bottom.
We have our spinach, fresh spinach, which I love. A lot of people are sleeping on spinach, but
Oh, yeah, they are.
spinach is really good in
Really
salads
good.
or
Yeah.
to cook it or
Kale and all that.
yeah. And I also have kale which is good in salad. I know people that cook kale with their collard greens. We have a mustard plant that's springing up in the middle of there. I guess the seeds just kind of jump around. Then of course you got the kale in the bag. And here I planted some additional collards. So these 4 rows are rows of collard greens. And of course it's clearing out the back. Initially that was just full of poison ivy and the trees were covered with poison oak. I've cleaned all that off the trees. I've sprayed. I've raked. saving bags of leaves or leaf mold so that I can have some organic matter that'll be free to me that I can work back into the soil. So I'm excited about it all. If there's anybody out there that's watching this that has any kind of information or wants to support the garden in any type of a way with information, if you have some tips on how I can get more things to come up or ways I can get free things, resources, please let me or Jeremy know.
Yeah. And definitely reaching out to the city of Jackson too as well, because the basic thing is, if we start with the city of Jackson, and not looking at the state right now, but looking at the city of Jackson, where I know in agricultural fields and things like that, where you guys have free resources. So she's able to supply for this community, because in this community, just by appearance, it's more retired people and people that are probably 65 and up, older.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think what we need to do and understand, we put substance plans in place like Meals on Wheels and things like that. Not saying they have good food, but actually somebody to actually attend to a garden and actually feed the good nutrient food that's coming from their soil. And these are soils of the sweat and backs of the people that lived here. So I want people to understand what I'm saying and reaching out for a calling to the city of Jackson to provide those resources and start other community gardens where this can be a vehicle and a tool to make sure that those other people have resources too as well. But just know that we started it here first, right here on Powers Avenue, where Sharon and Caring Block Garden neighborhood block
Sharon
garden
is Caring neighborhood block
garden started. See, I get tongue twisted with that, but I'm inspired to know that this is happening in Mississippi, which I am a native of. But then again, how can we reach the masses with this and starting not only a trend, but a culture in gardening and also in eating healthy?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
my salute to you. And at any time, and Norma will tell you that the rides do contribute.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
basically, when she comes, she don't come with a beckoning. She comes with an humble heart and an humble spirit and say, look, this is what I'm doing. And as I come back home and look at this Flourish Garden, because I was here even before it started.
Absolutely.
So I know exactly what it looked like.
Absolutely.
So this has been a great change for me and a change for my spirit too as well, because something that you put your mind to as far as the vision and actually implementing that vision and stay with it no matter what happens, but stay with your plan and also the gate too as well. So these are not only the fruits of her labor, but this is also the fruits of giving too as
Absolutely.
well. And like she stated before about giving, acts of kindness. That's about kindness, and that's one thing is we still have to understand. It's being human and being kind, and that's what that's why we were called humankind. Even before we even had races, cultures, and things like that, we were human, and people don't understand that. People don't understand that. Let's get that. So what we'll do is definitely understand that I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Creative Voice Podcast, the dialogue coach and the wisdom dialogue of the Rise. We're here in Jackson, Mississippi, with Norma Michaels under the Sharon is Caring neighborhood block garden. And we've seen so many great fruits, vegetables, peppers, broccoli, my favorite, cauliflower, my favorite, but things that are very healthy. So I want, if the camera person can just swing around and give us another look at the garden again. All the way around 360. Oh, okay. I'm gonna fix it. Not so far. Just 360. I'll try to wait. And we just want to know that right now she's getting ready to go ahead and pick some of the mustards and the turnips so she can give it to the community. So we're going to watch her and she show you how to pick actual greens from the garden. So, let's see. You guys see it?
All right, let's pick some greens.
Nobody see it? Nobody see it? Nobody see it? So is there a specific way you need to pick these greens?
Well, from what I've gathered from the research is you just pick the outer greens. If you want them to regrow, you just pick what's on the outside.
Right.
So unless you're gonna pull up the whole green, you just go from the outside.
Right.
And it's just to reach in and find where it's close to the base. You just break the stem. Now, these are the turnips.
Okay.
So the turnips look different from the mustard. The mustards are more of a flat leaf. So I'm actually going to fill this bag up with turnips and mustards. One of my neighbors wants to cook turnips and mustards for Christmas. So I told her that I'd come out here and pick some greens for her. How you doing? That's one of my neighbors there that has helped me with resources and some vital information about getting the garden started and what to plant and when to plant it and how to plant it.
You gonna cook some greens? I got plates in my car now. You know, don't worry about that.
I know you got greens. I know you got greens at home.
Paper towels on there. You ain't even got to wash my dick.
So definitely understand. Here at the Sharon and Karen Neighborhood Block Garden, we are here with Norma Michael, and we are just sharing and caring as she's picking some of the turnips and the mustard.
Oh, God, man, you looking good over there.
Thank you.
So any parting words you want to say as you pick those, or any words of encouragement too we want to tell the guests?
Well, I just think that, you know, when God places something on your heart, you need to go with it. Don't be worried about, well, how am I gonna have the money or the resources to do that? Because He'll provide. If he puts it in your heart to do it, He'll make sure that you have what you need for it to come to fruition. And I'm grateful for the support team that I do have. I'm grateful for the love and trust I have in the Lord. It's just been a wonderful experience. Never ever would I thought I'd be gardening, but I love it. It's absolutely great.
And what will, if people want to contribute, where would they? Do you have a Cash App?
I do have a Cash App. So my Cash App is $Norma Michael. If you'd like to make a donation,
And that's NORMAMICHAEL. Yes.
Yes. I also have a PayPal account.
Okay.
My PayPal is Eula Joseph, EULAJOSEPH @yahoo.com.
Okay. All right.
And if you want to make a large contribution or something that you want to be able to do a tax write-off, we also have information with an organization that's a non-profit. If you'd like to do that as well.
Okay.
So reach out to me and I can give you more information.
Right. So any other encouraging words before we end this live?
You know, I'd like to say one last thing. I've always had a problem with patience. This has really taught me.
Oh, wow.
And I'm grateful for this.
Okay. Yes. And one thing is you heard it from Norma Michaels that it's definitely a blessing to be able to have patience. And we should all have patience like Job and be able to wait and do the necessary thing of waiting for our blessings and things like that. We'd like to thank you for joining in. We will drop this podcast by this Sunday, but it'll be on for the following week, but we have some other things that we need to add to. We'd like to thank you for listening as well. I am Judah Bernard with the Rise Creating Your Voice as we continue on just doing the work of God and doing His will. All right. Tell a friend, tell a foe, tell your spouse, heck, tell everyone.